All right, hello, wine-drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. And hey, we're breaking new boundaries here in 2025. That's right, 2 events in one night. Who does that? We do it at the Wine Watch, yes. And I want to say I was host of both events. But hey, you know you're going to get extra when you come to the Wine Watch. And we had special guest, winemaker Rob Sweeney here to help me out with the 2015 Napa Valley Cabernet tasting. Hey, we had a Sonoma wine thrown in there. And you know we always throw a ringer in there, almost always, whenever we have a tasting like this. And hey, at the Wine Watch, I always like to say we're doing serious scientific research. And we like to study wines at 10 years, at 20 years, at 30, at 40, at 50. Hey, at 60, if we can find enough of them. It's not going to be easy for those of you born in 65. Unfortunately, not a good vintage. 64, last year we had 12 bottles of Burgundy ready to go in January for our friends that were born in 64, that were turning 60 last year. A great vintage in Burgundy. And hey, Cabernet can last a long time, also 40, 50, 60 years in a great vintage. And this 2015 vintage, I want to say, great. I don't know, it wasn't bad. It was a warm year. Rob had glowing things to say about it, but other winemakers I've talked to, Scott Palazzo, didn't make his top wines in 2015. Napa Valley's a big place. I think there's 16, 17 AVAs now in Napa. So at the end of the day, it depends where you're at. But none of these wines, I want to say, were blockbusters. We had some really good stuff on the table. And hey, we had a wine that was under $50 on the table tonight, just to see how, I don't want to say one of the everyday wines of Napa Valley, because the Hess Allomi I think you could find for $25 at this time, or under 30. And yeah, I always thought it was a great wine. When we got some in the cellar that we picked up, I said, well, hey man, it's time to study these 10-year-olds. And yes, I said we had 2 events. Castello del Terriccio, one of the Super Tuscans, also featuring Cabernet Sauvignon as the main varietal. We also had on the same night, you know what? The last time we posted that event, same lineup of wines, 0 reservation. So that's the 2 events in one night. Hey, if we've got an event that may be a little difficult to sell, I'm going to throw a Napa Cabernet tasting the same night at you, because this is the easiest event to sell. I want to say at the end of the day, to be able to drink 10, 11, 12 wines and have dinner for $250. It's the best deal in town. And hey, some of these wines costed $250. We threw in a wine from Washington State, Quilceda Creek. That was worth the price of admission all alone. You go out to a restaurant, that one's going to be $300-$400 on a restaurant wine list. And what an incredible meal. That pappardelle bolognese last night. Anyways, we started out with a 15 vintage Chardonnay, because, hey, we got the largest collection of vintage Chardonnay on earth here now. And this wine, maybe the wine of the night. And you know what? Nobody even talked about the Chardonnay at the end of the night. Maybe that was my bad. I didn't mention, you could mention the Chardonnay, because this wine's still fresh. Amazing. The color on this, hardly any oxidization. Some lovely candied lemon drop fruit here. Some a little bit of a toasty oak spice in the nose there. Some floral notes. And yeah, still damn fresh on the palate. Really lovely. And no sign of aging almost at all in that wine. I want to say this Hanzel Chardonnay, and that's the Hanzel with a Z, that goes back to the 50s, one of the landmark producers for Burgundian-style Chardonnay in California. All right, Altos, which is the second wine of Maris. And hey, this is another great value here. And you start to see some progression at 10 years. I always say it takes 10 years for Cabernet to really start to get interesting. You get a little tobacco, a little cedar, a little graphite in this wine, some currants. Wow, really soft and just drinking beautifully right now. A lot of these lesser wines from 2015, you got them in your cellar. There's no reason to keep them. They are fantastic, man. Andrew Geoffrey, a small producer from Diamond Mountain. You notice mountain fruit, you get a little more natural concentration. The berries are smaller, the yields are lower. And this is one of these producers a lot of people don't know about, but I want to say more Bordeaux or Old World in style here. You get some lovely red currant berry fruit. You get a little bit of that fresh, earthy minerality you get from the Diamond Mountain. And wow, I'm going to say the tannin's fully resolved in that wine. Also, still very fresh, a lot of nice fruits. I'm going to say these wines can last longer. I don't know why you would keep them. They're delicious right now. Buoncristiani, I'm not familiar with this wine at all. We got a case of this in a collection we picked up, and $125. Hey, it's not cheap. But Napa Valley is eating if you're a Cabernet varietal. This one's got a little more dark currant, dark cherry fruit on the nose. Some leather, and yeah, really nice, I have to say. Everything we had on the table, drinking beautifully tonight. Maybe going to be hard to pick a winner here. The Claudon, the Eternity, their top wine. Hey, this is a small grower. They've been around since the 70s. Sweeney never heard of them. I was like, are you kidding me? I've always loved their wines, and yes, this wine got 2 votes for first, 2 votes for second. Now we're starting to get into the meat of the tasting, and I just put these wines in alphabetical order. I didn't go like lightest to heaviest. I said, what the heck, the easiest common denominator. Let's put them in alphabetical order. And another wine that, I mean, I'm not familiar with, Dakota Shy. This is their Atlas Peak Cabernet, and again, mountain fruit. And hey, this wine had the most sediment. You know what that means? I don't want to say the wine's made more naturally if you have more sediment, because you could have just been lazy and not racked it enough times, but a lovely dark currant, dark cherry fruit. That wine is fantastic, man, for, I'm going to say, a wine I don't know much about, a contender for wine of the night. And then the Fisher Coach Insignia. You know, and Rob said, you know, this is typical. The wines in the middle of the group usually show best or the win, and no. At the end of the day, we do a lot of these tastings. It doesn't matter whether you're at the end or the beginning of the lineup. The best wines always shine. And on the next day, they're also better. And this Coach Insignia 2015, wow, fantastic bouquet. A lot of currant and cherry and plum fruit on the nose. A little bit of a sweet kind of a herbal note to it. And wow. I'm going to say that middle two, the Fisher and the Dakota Shy, maybe the most concentrated. And then the Gundlach Bundschu, yes, the outer liar from Sonoma. And a little bit of herbal. And I want to say Rob picked this one out in the blind. He said, yeah, this is Sonoma, boom. It did show a little differently, I want to say, than the Napa wines. And Sonoma wines are somewhat overlooked in their aging potential. Because this wine could have the most aging potential of anything on the table. A lot of tannin still here, but a lot of fruit and a firm hand of acidity. Gundlach Bundschu, 2 votes for second, Jeff. That's right, one of our good friends, Jeff Bundschu. The Hess Allomi. You know, you get a little toasty oak still in this nose, which that usually blows off. And I'll tell you what, light, definitely lighter in color than all the other wines, but very pleasant. A beautiful bottle of wine for $40, aged to perfection at the end of the day. You don't need to keep a lot of these, I don't want to say lesser wines from 2015 any longer than this, because that wine I don't think is getting any better. The Inglenook, on the other hand, the Rutherford, wow, one of the great vineyards of Napa Valley. You get a little bit of that Rutherford dust showing through in the nose on this wine. Some lovely currant, cherry, and plum fruit here too. I think the Inglenook showed very well. 2 votes for first, a vote for second, a contender for wine of the night. And I'm surprised that Quilceda Creek didn't get more attention, but you know what? I want to say next to all these Napa wines and the one Sonoma, it was very different, you know. Man, a little bit more of the graphite, kind of fresh-shaped pencil kind of character cedar on the nose here. Rob accused them of using American oak. And they might. I don't know. I couldn't find anything about it in the dossier, but I don't think it's 100% American oak. Doesn't smell like silver oak at all. But just 1 vote for second. I really like the Quilceda, and it's got great aging potential. And the ringer. You know, whenever we've got a winemaker in the house, I will throw one of their wines in the lineup. Yes, that's right, Rob. One of your wines at Gravel Pit 2018. And damn, if he didn't pick out, it was 2018. But he thought it was Vinecliff, the winery that his family used to own and he used to run. But hey, still very young. We got a lot of honorable mentions, a couple second places, and a great lineup of wines from 2015. But the winners, almost in a dead tie, but the Fisher Coach Insignia got 1 more second place vote. Fisher in first place, Dakota Shy in second, and that is what I had to drink last night at our 2015 vintage Cabernet tasting. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.